Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Good morning.
Things are looking better. The world can't wait for the US dollar to suffer a lot more bashing so that oil prices can at least recover. And then, where do we go from here? Talk to us what's been happening overnight.
Oil prices resumed negative trend. This is because of what's happening in China and what's happening in the US. So the US non-manufacturing figures came out, and there was actually a decline. So it seems like the retail sector, the banking, and the healthcare sector in the US is actually suffering. So this, and again, the Q4 GDP growth for 2015 in the US was soft at 0.7% as opposed to 2.1% in the third quarter of 2015. So this sends some sort of negative sentiment that the U.S. economy is actually not doing as well. So this pulled pressure on the value of the currency. So the Wall Street Journal, which tracks a value of a currency, dropped about 1.6%. So obviously, if the value of the U.S. dollar declines, this makes commodities most attractive for buyers of other currency. Then we move to China. China, like we always say, is the second largest consumer. But then their service activity, the service activity in China came out, and there was actually an improvement. So it seems like there's some sort of positive news for once coming out from China. Figures for January were about 52.4 as opposed to 50.2 in December. So this is good news. So yes, this kind of puts some sort of negative, positive sentiment actually as to that China may start buying oil as they used to.
So when you analysts received the news from Goldman Sachs, the report yesterday that oil could recover by the end of the year close to $50 a barrel between the WTI, the Brent, and the rest of the ICE. What struck your mind? Do you think Nigeria should still lower its budget benchmark for the year, or we should just stick around with that figure, or perhaps we should just go ahead to $40 a barrel?
I think the benchmark budget for Nigeria should be revised. Goldman Sachs has said that by the end of 2016, prices could recover. This is a forecast. We have a lot of forecasts, a lot of predictions, but we don't know how true this is. But however, we have to face current realities at the moment, which is prices now have actually picked up from $30. It's kind of stable to about 30, 31, and this has happened, for a while. However, the minister has said he will continue to review quarterly what is happening in the energy market and see if we can make, adjustment and changes. So this should be revised. But then Japan as well is the third largest consumer of oil, and if we look over the years, consumption of oil in Japan has changed. 41% of oil consumed in Japan is for the transportation sector, and about 28% is used in the industrial sector. However, the young people in Japan are not driving as the previous generation because they're moving more to the hybrid vehicles, and the industrial sector in Japan is suffering. It declined about 3.5% from 2015 to 2010 to 2015. So Japan is not consuming as much oil. So there's just a lot of occurrences all over the world and it's pushing oil prices in every direction. It's like a lot of
ocean currents, isn't it?
Exactly.
Sometimes it gets cold, sometimes it gets warm.
Yes.
It's just there for you.
Exactly. It's just a lot of sentiment. Whatever news that comes into the market now pushes oil prices in every direction. And let's not forget that the EIA released the reports that inventories actually increased by 7.8 million barrels. This is really high.
One last question for you. Do you think we finally arrived at the age of volatility, a permanent age of volatility in the oil market?
Oil prices will continue to be volatile. So, I don't know.
This is a new reality.
It's a new reality, and this is already feeding into a lot of oil-producing countries. We bring it back home to Nigeria, for example. We know low oil prices leads to declining foreign earnings. It leads to depleting external reserves, and it leads to
declining investments,
reduced government revenue. So if governments, if they don't have this money to pay, we have a lot of backlog in salaries. There's a lot of salary arrears, and this is already affecting consumers. Job losses. Staffs are being laid off.
I don't like the train effect. You touch the head of the train and the rest of the body derails. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate that today.